So this is your standard. However, you might have some problems because you've got variations of these lessons. So I created this for those variations. You have Schedule A. Schedule A, the default schedule's in black. So say sounds, suffixes, say sounds and suffixes, point to sound, suffixes, soft C and G. It's basically page 23. Okay. However, if you're doing start 1, you're going to have to move the new concept ahead, not here, because they don't know the sound. So you have to teach them first. So the schedule is slightly changed. Okay. And so I'm talking about the boot camp schedule. The boot camp, you might be doing these books here. This is boot camp. Or you could be doing the Ferris wheel. But you have the modification of the schedule. You're not doing suffixes. You're doing a simpler schedule and the new concept first. This is our normal default. Now, if you're going through this series, these are the boot camp, or the Ferris wheel only has 4 books to do as much. This is where it's not in depth. And a kid who just needs a quick review of boot camp, the Ferris wheel's fine, and then you'd move over here. But if not, I recommend you get the boot camp if they need more work. So they go to this, and if they're under 40 words a minute, 35 or so, you're going to move over to Carnival. If they are above that, you're going to go to Tells of Youth. Okay? And they're going to start with Ocean Fun. Okay? So I make a note here. When finished, go to Hot Tub if under 40 words a minute. If 40 words or higher, go to Ocean Fun. Okay. All right. Now, if you're in Carnival, when you finish it, I tell you, go to Rascal in Tells of Youth. That's a natural next step if you're at Carnival. All right. Now, once you're out of this schedule and you're in my regular books, which could be Carnival or Tells of Youth, here's my schedule. I'm following it. And if I'm going through Tells of Youth, when I finish Tells of Youth, I tell you, go to Monkey and Mascot, go to Monkey and Mascot's Message, which are here in red. You follow the red. Or you can go to Princess Pat and Invaders and the Fantastic Adventures. These are the natural places to go if you're going to continue. Okay, so boot camp. Kid knows very little. I'm doing either the Ferris wheel or my boot camp series. When I'm done, if they're still very slow, I go over to Carnival. If they're catching on, really catching on, I go to Tells of Youth. Once I'm almost done with Tells of Youth, I can go to Tells of Adventure or Fantastic Adventures. Now, interesting enough, when you merge Tells of Adventures and Fantastic Adventures, you really have a full series if you have a longer time, because this goes through the closed syllables, vowel tag, vowel change, green, yellows, reds, and this does the same for 2-syllable words, but does the long vowels, A, E, I, O, U. So you have the colors and the long books for the long vowels. It's a nice package. This also does that. It does books for the green, yellow, and reds and the long vowels. So these two go together if you have a time, like if you have a year, 8 months. If you basically got 2 or 3 months, go to one of these series and push through it. All right, Schedule B is your start 3 to 4. Now, this is now my more upper elementary series, which is Tells of Mystery and Fantastic Adventures. And so I have a child that I start in these books, and they're too hard for them. And let's say the child's a start 2, and I'm going to go ahead and put them in this series. Well, this is too hard for them, so I have an arrow back, go back here and do this and pick one of these series. Okay. But let's say he's a good start 3 or 4. I will go into this series and I give you some examples Upper elementary may start with Magic or Hobo and Tales of Mystery. That's here. This is Vowel Tag book. This is Vowel Change. Or Invaders and Princes and Fantastic Adventures. Okay, so Invaders and Princess Pat is here. Those are Vowel Tag books. These go nicely together. So if you've got your like beyond first, second, and you're going like, this is too easy for the child, you can move into these series, which are second and third. If they're a little higher, you can move into these. Okay. Now for older kids, upper elementary, middle, and middle school, you can again use this plan and put them in the proper book of these series. Moonlight or Sunlight. Moonlight is for feisty boys that are like fourth grade and above. I've done it with some third graders. I have done it with high school kids. Sunlight Tales is more of a girl series where a girl takes a dominant role, but I find junior high boys like it as well. So these are nice series. Again, they go straight through the program, starting with closed and ending with reds. Starting with closed, ending with reds. But if you do Sunlight Tales, you do end with these two books in Moonlight, because girls love these, and this brings you to 7th grade level if you go there. High school may want the historical fiction of Chronicles Your or Making Music. Making Music is the life of a child with dyslexia. Okay, so you're using this schedule for 3/4s, and you could actually go into this. You're basically, if you got a 3/4, a 3 will be going into the Vowel Tag book. A 4 may be going in the Hobo Detective or Danger in the Dark. He may even go into Panic in the Park if he's a high 4. You have to figure that out. All right, now schedule 3. This is a kid who's leaving the program. Now, in a high 4, this is a kid who's been in 4. He's like JT. Quick sounds with board or stoplight sheet. I did that with JT. Do sounds quickly. You may time you may time them in concepts, time in the Big Dipper, time them in the Vowel Galaxy if you want. But sounds are done quickly for spell and read. New concept, the student teaches me the lesson, like the 6 syllables, the long vowel spelling, suffix rules, bigger concepts. They say syllables quickly. They're at like 10 seconds or less in my syllable work. They're using diagnostic syllables and words and quotes. Beat the clock. This is key. They use words and quotes, page 43 to 45. This is a really tough pages. 43 deals with the 6 syllables. Stay, open. Statch, closed. Stayed, silent E. Roshan, ending and open. Parshan, our family, and endings. Caw two, diphthongs, etc. So it's dealing with a lot of crazy syllables. Spelling, you're doing sentence dictation and words and quotes, your upper level. That's mentioned on each concept. Reading goes way ahead of spelling, and you're now in Pep Baker and the Georgetown Ghost. And then you can move to nonfiction if you want, Read Not Naturally or Jamestown. Or as I mentioned, if you stay fiction, you can go to Ben Franklin, which is historical fiction, and that goes up to 10th grade. So you can either move into nonfiction series, or you can move into a higher level Chronicles of Yore. This is the highest level. This is 10th. This is 8th. This is 7th. This is 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2. Okay. This starts at 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, but ends at adult level. Okay. Now, when I go to directed reading, if I have a kid that was in the program, I may review using this, the stoplight sheet, real quick. Then spelling with a focus on the long vowels, bully rules, the rest words, the sight word TST, and review list. And speed syllable work using covers. So I may be doing speed syllable work in words and quotes. So this is a kid that's finished with the program. I'm now reviewing, before I go to the directed reading. Okay. Now, the directed reading is directed reading. I didn't create this. I've modified it. So anytime you're going into a novel, you want to, before a chapter, check vocabulary. Okay. Vol tag the words, 8 or 10 words from the reading. So if you're in a class, you'll take 10 words, write them down, and they'll vol tag them. Okay. All right. And then you're going to read them in context and see if they know the hard ones and see if they can give the definition. So if they don't know a word important, you would say, he had to protect these important papers because they dealt with ruling the country. Well, that means it's something crucial, right? So you vol tag the vocabulary in hard words, you read it in context. Okay. Now, for directed comprehension, you want to keep list of vocab words student doesn't understand. This is crucial. So my kid who has comprehension problems that starts here, when he doesn't understand vocation, I write it down. So when he reads it the next day, he's got to say that means a job or a life work. He doesn't understand reputation. That's people's opinion of you. I am now in his notebook writing down vocab words because kids with problems have several issues. They don't understand the vocab. They don't have the background to understand what they read. And they have language patterns that are immature. That's why they're having problems. So we start with the vocab. We then do the background. We then give a purpose. Now, I showed this yesterday's video on doing a directed reading. Now, in the reading, I check P cubed. I want to make sure they can picture, paraphrase, predict. We talked about if you can do that, I now go to gist statements. And they'll formulate a gist. Somebody or somebody did something because. Somebody or something did something because of the effects were. Somebody or something did something because in the effects were and the problems were. I just mean add this and the solutions were. We'll start doing this every paragraph or so. Give me a gist. I'll give a gist. Remember, anytime you teach comprehension, you need to model it. So I'll do a gist and he'll do it. And I'll say, you know, you got the basic gist. Let's add effects. So Pep dodged or investigated the Halloween materials because they attacked him. The effects of that were it piqued his interest. And the problem was he was going to solve what it was because it's unusual that it also happened at home. So now you're getting a fuller thinking on your gist. So you can expand your gist. Now, pre-reading, before you go into directed reading, you do the wave as I showed yesterday. It's called story grammar: introduction, rising action, climax, conclusion. And you're writing words on that. Studies indicate that's one of the 7 most powerful techniques for comprehension. What's nice about the wave, if you add words as you go, when you're done, they can write a nice summary from it. Now, you close the reading with the W's. Anytime you have comprehension issues. All right, Tom, who are we dealing with? I forgot his name. Scan and find it. So I teach him how to scan for a name. It's not skimming where you're trying to get the idea. You're looking for a name. Okay, where did this happen? I forgot. Scan and find it. Put your finger on it. Oh, there it is. When did it happen? It happened in the summer. Okay, so who, what, where, when? Now, Tom, I want you to ask a why question and answer it. Okay. Well, why do those instruments attack, or the Halloween decorations attack Pep? Now answer it. I think there's a ghost somewhere. It's called Pep Baker and George. I think a ghost is causing it. Interesting. I'm going to ask you a why question. Why do you think Pep's even worried about it? Okay. How do you think the problem will be solved? If a child can do this, he understands what he read. Now, students, I then have them give the main idea. If I have time, I ask a feeling question and perspective. So, at the lowest level, I'm doing P cubed, the way I showed yesterday, with the core technique. It's a there question, look and search on your own. P cubed, I'm picturing, paraphrasing, prediction. And then after a certain Y, I'll ask a core question. Is it there? Look and search on your own. That's basic. The advanced, when I move to the gist, every paragraph or so, I'll model, he'll model, he will model, he'll model. What I'm doing is helping his memory, because comprehension problem kids, on top of the three things I mentioned, have memory issues also. So by doing the gist, we help the memory. Okay. When I'm about finished, I do the W's. Okay. Main idea. And I can do the perspective taking and the feeling. Throughout, if I'm reading a chapter, I am modeling inferencing. Three types of inferencing. Inference at a sentence, drawing conclusions, which is inferencing at a paragraph. Prediction is an inference ahead in the future. I'm modeling that while they're reading. So the comprehension kid is doing gist. I'm modeling inferencing. I'll have him inference. I'll model a gist. He's inferencing. We'll do a gist. He'll inference. I'll model. Then I close with the W's, etc. Now you want to make sure he gets momentum in the reading and enjoys it. So you don't want to overkill these techniques. I did this with a student and we did gist every paragraph or two and it was fine. And he liked the inferencing questions. Okay. Now you then are ready to write. You can write a summary from the wave, or you can write a hamburger where you have the main idea, supporting points, and conclusion as shown yesterday. I will alternate often a wave, a summary with the wave one day or one couple days a week, and then I might move to the hamburger. Introduction, your topic sentence, supporting points, conclusion. I want to give the ACE test frequently at directed reading. I got to see how this kid's going up in norms. If he's having trouble, I will have him pause and do gist statements as he's reading to himself, even though it'll slow his time down. You want to follow the novel with grade level nonfiction from Jamestown Press or Read Naturally. Jamestown Press has stories from 2nd grade to 10th with comprehension, etc. And you can get those on Amazon. They have used ones that are in good shape. They can cost you $6, $7 to 15. Grade levels, they have grade levels 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10. Now, I also want to end with taking their phone or their computer, like I showed yesterday, and hit FN twice and get them to speak the gist in the computer. I want them skilled at being able to use dictation software. You saw yesterday where I just talked normally and it picked up everything I said accurately. And it then added the punctuation. The kid needs to know this. So I want with all kids to be alternating some writing with this. Okay. They also need to be able to, on the computer, put read, the read function, which will read the screen. They need to do that. So they're able to do that. They need to be able to do some Audible books at home and learn that Audible books are exciting. Like this class did Ender's Game and my student couldn't do it. He's working with me. I said, listen, get the Audible. It's better than the book. The Audible is incredible for Ender's Game. I want to get kids to realize there's 3 types of reading: ear reading, Audible; sight reading, and Braille, touch reading. There's 3 types of reading. So you don't have to just read, you can do Audible. There are also places you can go that have textbooks downloaded. Just talk with your school for those sites. In the JT interview that we did, he talks about one he used. I forget, it was like Read something, but there are places you can just look up on the internet that will have textbooks online. Okay, so reviewing. This is kind of showing your start 1s and 2s, kind of where you're going. If they're pre-reading here, and then they move to either Carnival or here, Once they're through with Telsey Youth, they're moving here. If they're older, you'll take the start 2 or 3 book here. But if you put them in a book and you find they're struggling even here, you're going to go back to one of these easier books. But it shows you got a lot of options. These are more like 3rd to 5th. These are like 4th to 8th or 9th. These are high school, your options.